Welcome back. I just got sidetracked for 2 seconds, only it turned out it wasn't 2 seconds, it was 2 minutes, and the next thing you know, I'm running. How's your morning going? How's your afternoon, evening going? So, I had the most amazing opportunity yesterday to do something that we don't often get a chance to do. I was just clicking, welcome back. I got to go and attend a celebration of life for a fellow. He and his wife were integral parts of the Ottawa, Canada community, in that they were heavily invested and involved in the agricultural fair phenomenon that is not usually something you see in a capital city. And Ottawa has a distinction of being, it's the heart of the country. It is the capital of Canada. And yet you can get in your car and drive for 5 minutes and you're driving past farms, working farms. And it's because Ottawa is nestled in this really unusual and iconically beautiful location. It's at the junction of three rivers, which is where all the lumber was shunted back in the early days. And it was primarily a farming area, farming community. And so all of those roots are still here. And they're not only here because obviously every town, every city has roots, but it's alive and well. And so this festival every year is put together by people who are part and parcel of that entire extended community that surrounds the capital. It's so unusual. You can be right in the downtown core near the Parliament buildings, which would be like the White House or wherever in England. And then the next thing you know, good morning, Maggie. The next thing you know, you're riding a boat down a canal. In the winter, it's the longest skating rink in the world. And in another 5 minutes, you're driving past a field full of cows. You're driving past a machine that is turning the soil, that is getting everything ready for the next season. And you can go a little further, and there are roadside stands that are connected to a farm that grows vegetables and fruit and whatnot. And it is a kaleidoscope of what it's like to live in Canada. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning. I'm telling everybody what it's like to live in and around Ottawa because I had a fabulous opportunity last night to go to the Capitol Fair and celebrate the life of this lovely man and all the beautiful work that he and his wife did for decades and decades. They were part of the heart of these fairs and festivals. And they provided the food and they provided the guidance and they encouraged people in the community to get involved and volunteer, not just show up and play the games and ride the rides until you spin and throw up, but to really live the experience. And so last night I got to listen to local politicians, the mayor of this small burg and the councillor for that region, talking about singing the praises of this couple who year after year dedicated so much time and so invested so much of their energy and their love of their city. And it was crazy. It felt, well, good morning, Freddie. Apparently, there you are. Maggie said hello, and Kelly said hello. So, hello, stranger. And so it was, it was an unusual and beautiful experience. And the wonderful, it was a bookend because on Friday, so Monday, Friday, I got together with a dozen or so people involved, and you can't do that on television because it was Roger Price's birthday. And he's a quiet guy. He doesn't run around saying, look at me, look at me. He's such a wonderful talent. And we got together to have lunch with him and also to celebrate a remarkable achievement because this year, after years and years of people saying, hey, 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 what about Roger? Roger was awarded the Order of Canada, which is a huge, huge recognition of someone who has brought something to this country that is unique and priceless in value and lasting in its impact. And I don't think Other than hilarious and best time ever, there are better words to describe you can't do that on television. So it was my virtual families, on either side, going with the kids, and then with this amazing family of people who celebrate the underpinnings of a very highly respected capital of a brilliant country in the world. So it was amazing, and you know, I know it's a rural fair. I get that. I've been there, but I didn't realize they'd moved where you park, and so I didn't wear sensible shoes. Kelsa breeze. And so when I got out and I'm looking around, and somebody took pity on me, and the next thing I know, there's a golf cart coming because they don't want to see somebody face down with a broken something. And I haven't even arrived and bought a ticket yet. So it was for somebody who's uh, from a very very small family, I was suddenly surrounded by huge overlapping families, and it was quite a celebration. So cheers to that. If you have a beverage, join me. Oh, so good. So today I want to talk about this thing we do, that we have, that we don't really pay attention to. And what I said was, what do you bring that means everything? And I don't mean to you. What do you bring that changes the nature of the landscape? You kind of suddenly notice that something's shifted. It doesn't occur to you that maybe you're the catalyst. Do you have any idea what it is that you bring? And it could be donuts. And the change in the landscape is the waistline. But what do we bring? Do we know? And the crazy thing, most of us don't. And I think in many ways, the reason we don't know is because we're in it. We're standing too close. You can't see the forest when you are the tree, mostly because trees can't turn around and say, "So, how long have you been standing there?" We're pretty much there, right? And so, what do you bring? What is it that I don't want to say stand for, because that's you looking at you. What that other people say, that other people indicate to you, that is somehow remarkable? Do you know? Has anybody ever said, what is amazing about you? Do you know what you do all the time? And you say, no, what have I done? Did I hit somebody with my shopping cart? What did I do? They say, no, you're always this. And you look at them and you think, they've lost their minds. They've lost their minds. How could that be a thing? Because, of course, we're not seeing it from their point of view, are we? So, Callie, before I go further, how was the horse event? I saw your post. How did it go? Was it amazing? Let me know. So, when we are part of a community, when we show up on a consistent basis, we bring with us these little unconscious things, these little habits, these little tells that we have, these processes where we think this and then we do that. And most of the time, we might spend time saying, I wonder what this jacket looks like from the back. We might do that. Oh, I could just use the mirror. But we don't usually, or we'll say, oh my God, what are they thinking? What would they be thinking? Sometimes we do that, but we don't often say, I wonder, oh, I thought it might be. I thought it might be. So Kelly, you had an amazing time. Excellent. So we don't often ask ourselves, what are they enjoying when I'm in the room? We're busy because we're in the room, we're doing it. And a lot of the time, it isn't so much what we do, it's the ripple effect that the thing we do creates. It's not that I am here that changes everything. No, it's whatever the aftershock. I was going to say ripples, but no. Boom. The aftershock, the waves, where you drop the stone in the pond, sploink, right? And it makes a kind of a crater. Droplets come up, and the crater displaces the water, and so you've got ripples going out, then you got ripples coming back because they hit the sides, and now they're coming back, and they bump into the stone, and it kind of has a thing until it slows down. We don't pay attention to the droplets. You drop a stone, boom, splash, and the splash, the water goes up, and then the water comes down, and depending on the size of the stone and the distance from which it fell, that can be a lot of water. Sometimes it's just a few drops. The interesting thing, and this is cool when you think about it, each drop is like a mini stone of its own. It's like the echo of that stone. So each droplet that hits the water has a very small plunk and ripples and droplets. And so there is a process, there is a gradual subsiding back to normal. But everything has changed during the time that we displaced the energy from the way it was by what we did. It's not that we displaced the energy, it's the outcome of our action. So the reason we don't notice, I think, is because we did whatever it was, and then we moved on. In my case, probably trip going through the door. We don't stick around to say, look at what they're doing. I wonder what caused that. We don't usually, because we're already on to the next thing. So here's what I think is important, and I think why it really matters. Okay, hang on a sec. When we don't know what our impact was, two things happen that we're not aware of. One is that the people we impacted carry with them the effect of our impact. They came into our orbit in one state of mind, one mood, one attitude, one posture, and circumnavigating our moment alters their chemistry, alters their energy. And when they leave our orbit, they are carrying with them part of what we did, part of that energy, knowing or unknowing. When they head off down that path, the people they meet experience the echo of their experience with us. So when I talk about the later folder, and I'll get one to illustrate it with you. So later folder, orange. Later folder is designed to take things out of our heads where we are somewhere in our brains fixating on it, figuring out where to put it. Do we have to move the cushions, open the curtains? What do we have to do? Takes us out of the head, out of our heart, and puts it over here, puts it at arm's length over there. Why does that matter? Because it frees us up to have a fresh page. It gives us, bold to assume I allow people to leave my orbit. I was speaking euphemistically as opposed to euphemistically. Words are us. So here's what the later folder does. Most of the time, what I am inviting people to do is get your folder. And by the way, I love mine because of, how they all look in their different colors. The other reason is because I chose one that is exactly the same size as my phone. So wherever I can put my phone, that goes. And people say, I wouldn't know where to put it. Well, carry it with your phone. Oh, okay. So here's the thing. What I normally say to people is if something happens that kind of takes you off stride, the best idea is to get your weapon of mass construction and write the thing down. Snapped the nice, finely sharpened, pointy end of my eyeliner pencil. Now I have to find the sharpener and resharpen it. And that took time. One of the reasons why it came racing in here at 10:01. So you write down eyeliner pencil, maybe sharpener, because I had to look for it, right? Okay, those are two things that part of my brain would be muttering about under its breath most of the morning. But I've written it down in the later folder, the not now folder, the later folder, and then I draw a line under it. And then I close it and I say, I'll be back, right? Because it's the later folder. And what I'm doing is I'm reassuring my survivor brain that nothing is going to be forgotten. I am honoring the anxiety. I got it. However, I got stuff to do, things to carry, places to go, people to see. So I'm parking it here. Survivor brain says, okay, fine. Now, at the end of the day, all the things all the way through the day. So that was getting ready, and maybe something happened in the kitchen, getting the coffee or pulling the fridge apart to find the lunch that you'd packed, whatever. Something happened. Write that down. Get in the vehicle. Something happens. Write it down. Get to the place you need to be. Something happened on the way. Write it down. Why? Because you're going to walk through the door with things to do and expectations placed on you. You don't need the extra baggage. You don't need to be juggling all those flaming chainsaws. You can do that later. Right now, you want to be 100% here, facing front, ready to face the day, deal with the day, own the day, right? That's the later folder. Here's, however, the other thing the later folder can do is when you do something that you always do and you get a reaction, positive, negative, whatever, but you get a reaction you didn't expect. And part of your brain goes, I wonder what that's about. Write it down. Thing, exclamation marks. Because later, when you unpack the things that were holding you back and recognize that they were in fact temporary because they're not triggering you now, it was just in the moment, and that you filed them someplace gave you the freedom to file them sooner and move on sooner. The idea of writing down your impact on others gives you a clearer understanding of the reasons they are glad you came. They are pleased to see you. Shoulders go back. People smile. Hey, Abby's here. Hey, Kelly's here. Freddie's here. Maggie's here. What does that mean? It means that we did something at a previous time that they haven't forgotten. It stayed with them. And now, this time, one of two things is going to happen. That previous thing will be reinforced. And so you now don't have one, you have exponentially one. You have, it's bigger, it's three-dimensional. Kind of walks and breathes on its own. And you have something extraordinary that happens all by itself. nostalgia, an appreciation for, an appetite for, a celebration of things that made us smile once upon a time. I am involved accidentally in the nostalgia, entertainment, pop culture community by virtue of Mom and the Care Bears and the other characters, the other shows. And when I run into people, as happened last night, who say, "Oh my God, that's right. Oh, I remember." And now there we are. We're on the nostalgia train. And the person will tell their story because it's not about me. It's about their moment that took place while I was there, either in person or virtually on television, or a voice they could hear, not in their head, in the radio or whatever. And so the nostalgia connects people to what was while they're experiencing what is. And combining those two things creates a very powerful momentum, because already, right now, in the present, the person who is experiencing that reconnect, but not their reconnect with me, their reconnect with their younger self who connected with me, right? There's two reunions going on here. The power of that already shapes and shades and flavors their anticipation of the next moments. Not far distant future, but what's happening now. So, what are you doing? Gosh, it's so great to see you. Oh my God, you remember so and so? So, gosh, remember the time, blah, blah, blah. That's like one of those suddenly blooming flowers. You know, there's a thing sticking up out of the ground, and all of a sudden, boom, flower. The bees are all going, oh, look, lunch, right? That is the power of our ripple effects. That is the power of that thing that we do, that we have no idea has such influence. So, the stories last night about the lovely man and his wife who had predeceased him, I watched everyone in the telling of their individual stories do two things. Give me a second. The first thing was they would say, gosh, remember the time, and then tell the story of the event, the moment, the interaction, the outcome. But partway through the telling, the shift happens that we're not aware of. We're never really aware of. We're telling everybody. So then they did, and it was, and you could, and then here's the shift. And suddenly the story is not about them and that moment. The story all by itself has opened its little arms and welcomed the storyteller in, because now the storyteller is saying, so I don't know, I must have been 5, or it must have been midnight, or it must have been, and anyway, and now what they've done is they have planted that story into the part of their brain that is all about connection, that is all about belonging, that is all about joy and togetherness and all the other ripple effects that that means. Collaboration, community, more opportunities to be exponentially strong and inspired and game-changing. It before your eyes, listening to the person telling other people who were there then. And then you remember when you, oh my, you know what she's talking about, right? You remember when I came home, and now it is all the individual petals on that beautiful flower. And each petal is a small, small slice of the story from different points of view. It's like a rose cut diamond. You know the rose cut diamonds? They're like this, and there's all these facets, and you usually see them, and they're on some kind of a thing that turns. And every time the diamond turns 1 degree, the light flashes differently, right? Each facet as it hits the light. And so when you're looking at the diamond from a distance, it's like it sparkles. That is the alchemy, the wizardry that happens because of our remember when, because of us bringing that special something that we're not even aware of. I had a lovely, lovely thing said to me by one of my genius, intrepid photographers at one of the Fanaticon events a couple of years ago. She was watching people coming and going out of the booth, and the machinations of get them a boa and get them this and put them in front of the mirror and we fluff our hair and da da da. You know your impact on others, mostly thump, occasionally bonk. No, that's okay. So that's the impact without the reverberation. Thump and bonk is the point of contact. What's interesting is what follows. Because if they say, hey, and laugh, that's one kind of impact. If they say, why I oughta, it's a totally other. Same bonk, same thud. It's just how everybody leans into it and perceives it, right? So when we have got ourselves to a place where we're telling the story, where we're reliving the story, we are embellishing it. Because as we tell it and people are chiming in and bringing their insights, we are able to see the diamond from their point of view. It's a shared diamond experience. When I talk about pivotry and motion, and I say, so a pivot is a hard turn. It's like, right? That's a pivot. Or move. That's a pivot. It's not a segue. It's not a Geländersprung. It's not an arabesque. It's a right angle, fast and abrupt. But we don't pivot until after we thought of it. We don't make the move, take the action until we have recognized, responded, and decided what's next. What is our now what? All of those things take place in a split second. It's not even conscious. It's survival brain, fast, immediate. Danger, danger, run, fight, hide, freeze, right? Or not danger. Hey, come on in. Those things happen faster than the thinking brain can even begin to process. Because that's what that subconscious brain is for, to keep us alive. So here's the thing. If we've never noticed it before, our conversation today has changed everything. Because you can't unknow a thing. You can't unsee a thing. You can't unhear a thing. Because the memory of it stays with us. And then when we share the story of the event, we cement it. It happened, and then we tell the story, and that brain records it as happening again. And now it's an autopilot habit. Every time we retell the story, it becomes more firmly embedded. And it becomes part of the tapestry called Abby, called Kelly, called Maggie, called Freddie, called Eddie, called all of us. So on this beautiful Tuesday morning, we are now at the 18th of August. We have 2 weeks until September. I have a couple of spots in my no longer available in the mornings. But I have a couple of spots in my Tuesday, Thursday, get ready for September clinic. If you reach out to me today, you can message me, right? We can get started. And the object of the exercise is 2 hours, twice a week, times 2 weeks. So 8 hours of me giving you the management, the leverage, the navigation tools to recognize what's happening, to react or respond. React is a fear, respond is an engagement. To realize our power. By realize, I mean understand we can utilize our power and choose our path. And the reason it takes a clinic, it takes a mentor mindset scenario is what I said at the beginning. We cannot see the forest because we are the tree. We have these habits we don't know we have. Other people tell us, what? I don't do that. Yeah, you do. Here's a picture. September is the time when everybody remembers, oh yeah, it's a whole new season. It's a whole new point of view. Many people in my immediate orbit are completely changing their priorities. That's going to have a ripple effect. That's the stone that my community drops in my pond. Am I ready? Am I ready to hold my skirts high? Good morning, Rob. Good morning. I have something to share with you. I think you're going to be excited. Do we have the tools? Do we have the skill? And trifecta here, do we have the perspective to take what is happening and leverage it to our advantage, to make every next step easier? Or you almost forgot it was It's funny how that happens, right? It's Tuesday already? How did that happen? Thought it was just Thursday. So we forget that it takes more than one set of eyes to get the full picture. You know, when something happens and they interview bystanders, they're getting different points of view. They're getting different impressions. They're getting different opinions based on where those observers, participants were. When I was standing here, it looked like that. Yeah, really? Well, I was standing over here and it looked like this. And so the investigators, the questioners, piece together the puzzle. What I do with you is help you piece together your puzzle before you're blindsided, before you go back to the thing you hadn't done since June, before you realize that it's time to reset the closet, before it hits you that this was the week you were going to fill in the blank. Because the minute you remember that, everything that was so clearly laid out is thrown in the air. And we're either chasing the thing or we're running around trying to catch everything that we let go of. Or we can navigate our way into the safe harbor with the assist. So it's up to you. It's entertaining, it's interesting, and trifecta here, empowering. You learn stuff you didn't think you didn't know. So that was the segue commercial. That's the kind of commercial I do, by the way. Any of you business owners, what is a commercial that Abby does? How does it look? It looks like conversation. And it's so sneaky. We're discussing it, thinking about it, assessing it, adding it to things before we realize that it was also promotional. It's why they don't get cut. It's why people don't tune away, because it's part of the conversation. And so where I want to leave this today, on this beautiful Tuesday, is to tell you that we look at time from a different point of view than actual time. We are standing between 10 and 2, and that's how we view the day. If we step back 5 paces, we see the full cycle. That's merely a part of it. And when we step back, something happens in our brain, and I'm going to tell you what it is. While we're close, and this is where we were a second ago, and now it's moving, and this is where we're going to be, we say to ourselves, I have 8 more minutes. I still have 6 minutes. I have 4. I got 4 minutes. Oh, I got 4 minutes. I got 4 minutes. I got 30 seconds, right? We look at it from right there with the time. And we plan and react accordingly, right? When we step back and we see the full clock, it hits most of us for the first time that we don't have 4 more minutes. We have 4 fewer minutes. We're not adding, we're subtracting. And while we stand there thinking about it, more and more and more time is going. And we are left with fewer options, with less leverage, with less power. Seize the day and run like you stole it. That's a kind of a Viking adaptation. And the follow-up is, why not? Why not seize the day? Why not run like you stole it? Why not clutch it to you? Why not write down the pivotal, the Pivotry moment when you said, move the pencil sharpener closer? When you said, put the socks out the night before? When you said, put the keys by the bag? When you, on the fly, readjusted your technique? What do you bring? that means everything. Do you know? Would you like to? That can be arranged. So I'm going to love you and leave you here. It's a little short. I want to tell you a bit about tomorrow. Hilariously, my dear, fabulous, brilliant, dynamic stage manager director pal, who couldn't do last Wednesday because she fell and broke her wrist. Listen, if you didn't want to do it, you don't need to hurt yourself. I reached out to her and I said, is it rain check time Wednesday? And she said, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And are you in pain? No, only when I sneeze. Okay. And then an extraordinary thing happened. I was talking with somebody who said, you know who you need to talk to on Wednesday afternoon? And I said, no, who? And they told me, and I said, oh, yes, perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm not going to give the name away because on the off chance something happens, I don't want you disappointed. I want you excited. I want you anticipating. I want you thinking to yourself, I can't wait. As opposed to, I want you to shift out of your ho-hum gear and shift into, alrighty then, because it changes your day and you deserve it, right? We deserve it. So I want to thank a couple of people who decided that I needed more members and more subscribers and more options and opportunities to influence and build the ripple effects that I'm creating. I want to thank them for going out there and that's one of them said, I'm spamming the internet with you. Okay. Oh dear. And it's working. So in one group, the numbers jumped by a considerable amount. And on YouTube, well, we are coming into the home stretch on a milestone number. And I'm so grateful because sometimes it hits us with full force. The lion effect is a real thing. Lions don't hunt alone. Lions assemble the many strengths and approach the target together. And that's how they achieve their top status outcome. And so now together, so will we, because we're paying attention. We're seeing what happens when we bring that thing that we do. We're seeing, and when people are saying, oh my God, we're listening. And conversely, when people don't show up, when they show a whole other kaleidoscope of colors, of intents and purposes, we observe those too. We can use our later folder to clear space, to honor achievements, and remind us of our boundaries. It's a very, very versatile little book. And it is our power tool in giving ourselves permission to live our best lives on demand. Pivotry in motion is who we are and what we do. Isn't that cool? I thought so too. Okay, you know the drill. Be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. Tell everybody that tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. 10 o'clock Wednesday, New York time, in the morning, and then 7 p.m. Wednesday, New York time, is the evening edition. Each one of those is going to be hilarious and delicious and probably game-changing. So I will see you then, and then I'll see you back here, usual time, on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. Without you is a rehearsal. And I mean, rehearsals are essential, but they're not magical.